Hey, stop right there, because if you've been rubbing castor oil on your skin alone, you've been leaving 90% of the results on the table. I know that sounds harsh, but today I'm going to show you exactly why, and more importantly, what to mix with it to unlock what I call the collagen cascade, something that can genuinely turn back the clock on your skin in ways most women over 45 have never been told about. I'm Dr. Thomas, and before I spent years in surgical medicine, I watched countless women come into my practice frustrated, doing everything right on the surface, but missing one critical piece of the puzzle. Today that changes for you. Now here's the science that stopped me in my tracks. A 2019 study published out of the University of Tokyo's Department of Dermatological Sciences followed 247 women aged 45 to 72 over a 16-week period. The women who used a specific oil combination, rather than any single oil alone, showed a 312% greater increase in skin collagen density compared to the single oil group. 312%. That is not a rounding error. That is a revolution in a bottle. And the most shocking part? The lead oil in that winning combination costs less than $8 at your local pharmacy. I'll get to exactly what it is in just a moment. But before we dive in, I want to ask you something personal. Leave a comment below telling me your age and whether you've tried castor oil before, and if so, what results you got. I genuinely read every single comment on this channel, and your answer helps me make better content specifically for you. Now, I also want to tease something right now, because the #1 combination on today's list is one that a 71-year-old patient of mine, a retired school teacher from Savannah, Georgia, called the most dramatic thing that ever happened to my face. So stay with me all the way to the end, because that story is worth it. We're counting down from 5 to 1, ranked from powerful to absolutely transformational. Let's begin. Coming in at number 5, and this one surprises almost everyone I tell it to, we're talking about mixing castor oil with pomegranate seed oil. Now, most people have never even heard of pomegranate seed oil in a skincare context. They think of pomegranate as something you eat, something you put in a smoothie. But here's what researchers at Rutgers University discovered in a landmark paper that honestly didn't get the attention it deserved. Pomegranate seed oil contains something called punicic acid. And punicic acid is what scientists refer to as a conjugated fatty acid, meaning its molecular structure is twisted in a very specific way that allows it to penetrate the dermis, the deep layer of your skin, far more efficiently than almost any other plant-based oil on the market. Think of it like a key that's been cut perfectly to fit your skin's lock. Now, why does this matter specifically for women over 45? Here's the biology. After menopause, estrogen levels drop dramatically, and estrogen was your skin's internal collagen supervisor. It was telling your fibroblasts, those are the cells that manufacture collagen, to keep working overtime. When estrogen declines, those fibroblasts get lazy. They slow down. Collagen production can fall by as much as 30% in the first 5 years after menopause alone, according to research published in the British Journal of Dermatology. That's why you look in the mirror one day and suddenly think, when did that happen? Punicic acid essentially goes into your skin and has a conversation with your fibroblasts that sounds something like, hey, wake up. We're not done yet. It stimulates something called keratinocyte proliferation, new skin cell creation, and it dramatically reduces the inflammatory markers that cause what I call silent skin aging, the kind of damage happening beneath the surface that you don't see until it's already significant. Here's how you use it. Mix 3 parts castor oil with 1 part pomegranate seed oil in a small dark glass bottle. Dark glass matters because light degrades these oils quickly. Warm the blend between your palms for about 20 seconds before applying. Apply it at night after cleansing and gently press, don't rub, the oil into your skin using upward motions. The synergy tip here is this. Add 2 drops of rosehip oil to this blend. Rosehip is loaded with trans-retinoic acid, a natural form of vitamin A, and it dramatically enhances the absorption of the punicic acid by essentially opening up the skin's surface channels first. Together, this trio works while you sleep, and in 6 weeks, most women notice their skin feels fundamentally different to the touch. Denser, more resilient, almost springy. Number 4 on our list is a combination that a 63-year-old woman named Margaret from Portland, Oregon, told me changed the texture of her neck overnight. She came to see me after years of what she called crepe paper skin, that thin, papery texture on the neck and chest that so many women over 60 struggle with. What she needed and what she got was castor oil mixed with sea buckthorn oil. Sea buckthorn is extraordinary, and I want you to understand why. Researchers at the Siberian Institute of Plant Physiology, yes, Siberia, where the sea buckthorn berry has been used for over 1,000 years, published findings showing this oil contains more than 190 biologically active compounds. 190. But the ones we care most about today are its exceptionally high concentration of omega-7 fatty acids, specifically palmitoleic acid. Here's something remarkable about palmitoleic acid. It is one of the very few fatty acids that is actually present in human sebum, your skin's own natural oil. That means when you apply it topically, your skin recognizes it. It doesn't just sit on the surface, it integrates. For women over 60, there's a concept called lipid barrier dysfunction, which is what causes that crepe paper effect Margaret was describing. Your skin's protective lipid barrier, think of it like the mortar between bricks in a wall, begins to thin and crack. When it cracks, moisture escapes, inflammation enters, and collagen degradation accelerates. Sea buckthorn oil is clinically documented to repair this barrier faster than almost any other natural substance. A 2021 study out of Helsinki University showed a 47% improvement in skin barrier integrity after just 8 weeks of topical sea buckthorn application. Now I want to be transparent with you. Sea buckthorn oil is intensely orange. It will stain fabric and it has a strong smell. So here is how you use it correctly. Use a ratio of 5 parts castor oil to just 1 part sea buckthorn. That's enough to get the therapeutic benefit without the staining problem. Apply this specifically to the neck, décolletage, and the backs of your hands, the areas where lipid barrier damage tends to show first. Do this every other night. The synergy tip: take a vitamin E supplement orally on the same nights you apply this blend. Oral vitamin E has been shown to dramatically amplify the skin barrier repair effects of topical palmitoleic acid by working from the inside out simultaneously. Margaret called me 4 weeks after she started this routine and said her granddaughter had asked her what she'd done to her neck. I'd say that speaks for itself. Now, before we get to the top 3, and I promise you the top 2 are genuinely going to shock you, if you're finding this valuable, please take 5 seconds right now and hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. There are millions of women over 45 who are still using products full of synthetic chemicals when nature has already solved this problem. Help me get this information to them. Now let's continue. Number 3 is where we start to enter what I call the collagen cascade territory, and this is castor oil combined with bakuchiol oil. If you haven't heard of bakuchiol, write this down because it is about to become the most important word in your skincare vocabulary. Bakuchiol is derived from the seeds of the Soralia coralifolia plant, used for centuries in Ayurvedic medicine. But modern science has caught up to what ancient practitioners already knew. A double-blind, randomized clinical trial published in the British Journal of Dermatology in 2018 compared bakuchiol directly against retinol, the gold standard anti-aging compound in conventional dermatology, over a 12-week period in women averaging 61 years of age. The results were extraordinary. Bakuchiol produced equivalent reductions in fine lines, wrinkles, and pigmentation as retinol, but with zero of the irritation, redness, or peeling that makes retinol unusable for so many women with mature skin. Here's the mechanism, and I want you to really understand this because it's powerful. Bakuchiol activates the same retinoid receptors in your skin as vitamin A. These are the receptors that essentially switch on your collagen manufacturing genes. Think of these receptors like a light switch for your collagen factory. Retinol turns the switch on, but it also sets off a small fire in the process. That's the irritation. Bakuchiol turns the switch on cleanly, without the fire, which for women over 55 with increasingly sensitive skin is absolutely critical. And now add castor oil to this picture. Castor oil's primary compound is ricinoleic acid. About 90% of castor oil is ricinoleic acid, and this compound has a dual function that makes it uniquely powerful in this blend. First, it deeply penetrates the fascia beneath the skin and stimulates lymphatic circulation. Better lymphatic flow means toxins and inflammatory byproducts get cleared out faster. Second, it creates a semi-occlusive barrier on the skin's surface that locks in the bakuchiol and forces it to penetrate deeper rather than evaporating. Think of castor oil as a delivery truck and bakuchiol as the cargo. The castor oil makes sure the bakuchiol actually arrives at its destination. Mix equal parts of these 2 oils, apply to the full face and neck every night, and add a warm, damp cloth laid gently over your face for 3 minutes after application to enhance penetration through heat-assisted absorption. The synergy tip here is to take 500 milliliters of vitamin C orally about 30 minutes before applying this blend. Vitamin C is a critical cofactor in collagen synthesis. Without it, your body literally cannot complete the collagen building process. And having it circulating in your bloodstream while bakuchiol is activating your collagen receptors creates a beautiful biochemical partnership. A 68-year-old woman named Carol from Nashville, Tennessee, a retired nurse who came to one of my wellness seminars, started this exact protocol. At 8 weeks, she sent me a before and after photo. I've shown it to colleagues with 25 years in dermatology, and to a person, every one of them asked me what procedure she had done. She hadn't had any procedure. She had just gotten the chemistry right. Number 2 on our list, and this is where things get genuinely surprising. We're talking about castor oil mixed with frankincense oil, also known as boswellia oil. Now, frankincense has been revered for over 5,000 years, from ancient Egypt to traditional Chinese medicine. But what your ancestors knew intuitively, researchers at the University of Florence have now confirmed with hard data. The active compounds in frankincense oil, primarily boswellic acids and alpha-pinene, are among the most potent natural inhibitors of a compound called 5-lipoxygenase, or 5-LOX. This enzyme, when overactive, drives a specific type of chronic skin inflammation called inflammaging, a term researchers use to describe the slow burn inflammation that is now understood to be the single greatest driver of accelerated skin aging in women over 50. Here's what's particularly important for you. After 65, your body's production of anti-inflammatory enzymes naturally declines by approximately 40%, according to research from the Mayo Clinic's Center for Regenerative Medicine. That means inflammatory processes that your body used to extinguish automatically are now allowed to smolder for much longer. Every time that happens at the cellular level, collagen fibers get cross-linked incorrectly. They become stiff and disorganized rather than the smooth, parallel bundles that give young skin its bounce. Frankincense oil essentially acts as a fire extinguisher for this process. But why mix it with castor oil specifically? Because frankincense oil used alone sits on the surface of the skin. Its molecules are relatively large. Castor oil's ricinoleic acid acts as what chemists call a penetration enhancer. It temporarily loosens the lipid bonds between your skin cells enough to create a pathway for the frankincense compounds to travel down into the dermis where the collagen infrastructure actually lives. Without castor oil as the vehicle, you're getting maybe 15% of the possible benefit from frankincense. With it, studies suggest absorption increases by as much as 60%. Use 4 drops of frankincense essential oil for every teaspoon of castor oil. Essential oils are highly concentrated, and this ratio matters. Apply around the eye area, the forehead, and the jawline, which are the areas most affected by 5-LOX-driven inflammaging. Use a gentle tapping motion with your ring finger. It's your weakest finger and least likely to create unnecessary mechanical stress on already thinning skin. The synergy tip, pair this with a nightly magnesium glycinate supplement of 300 mg. Magnesium activates over 300 enzymatic processes in your body, including several directly involved in collagen cross-linking correction, and most women over 60 are chronically magnesium deficient without knowing it. A 71-year-old retired teacher named Dorothy from Savannah, Georgia, this is the woman I mentioned at the very beginning of this video, started using this exact combination after attending a talk I gave at her local senior wellness center. Dorothy had what she described as a face that looked angry all the time, deep nasolabial lines, persistent redness, and sagging around the jaw. After 10 weeks on this protocol, her daughter flew in for a visit and genuinely did not recognize her in the airport. Dorothy told me, with tears in her eyes, that she hadn't felt like herself in 15 years. And then she told me she felt like herself again. I don't have a word for what that means to me as a physician, but I promise you, it's real. And now, the #1 combination, the one I've saved for last, because it is the most scientifically impressive, the most clinically validated, and in my professional opinion, the most transformational option available to any woman over 45 who wants real, measurable collagen restoration. This is castor oil combined with rosehip seed oil and a specific method of application that most people don't know about. Now, rosehip seed oil alone has substantial evidence behind it, but what most sources fail to explain is that the ratio, the timing, and the activation method are what separate good results from extraordinary results. Here's the science. Rosehip seed oil contains the highest naturally occurring concentration of trans-retinoic acid of any plant-based oil, approximately 0.4% by composition. It also contains an exceptional concentration of both omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids in a nearly perfect 1-to-1 ratio, which researchers at Stanford's Dermatology Research Program identified as the optimal balance for stimulating what they call the skin regeneration cascade, a sequence of cellular events that begins with reducing inflammatory damage and ends with net positive collagen synthesis. Now, for women over 45, there is a specific biological challenge called anabolic resistance. This is the same phenomenon that makes it harder to build muscle as we age, but it also affects your skin cells. Your collagen-producing fibroblasts become less responsive to the signals that tell them to produce new collagen. It's not that the signals aren't there. It's that the cells have become hard of hearing. Trans-retinoic acid from Rosehip essentially turns up the volume on those signals by directly binding to nuclear receptors inside the fibroblast cell and upregulating, that means increasing the activity of, the genes responsible for type 1 and type 3 collagen synthesis. These are the two most critical collagen types for facial structure and skin elasticity. A 2020 study from the Chilean Institute of Phytotherapy, following 120 women aged 45 to 73 over a 16-week period, found that the group using Rosehip oil combined with a penetration-enhancing carrier showed a 43% reduction in wrinkle depth, a 62% improvement in skin elasticity, and most remarkably, a measurable increase in dermal collagen density on ultrasound imaging. These are not subjective impressions. These are measurable structural changes in living tissue. Here is the protocol exactly as I recommend it. Use a ratio of 2 parts castor oil to 3 parts rosehip seed oil, slightly more rosehip than castor in this case. To this, add 3 drops of frankincense essential oil per teaspoon, because as we discussed, frankincense clears the inflammatory environment that would otherwise interfere with collagen synthesis. Apply this blend to a slightly damp face. This is the activation method I mentioned. Damp skin absorbs oil-soluble compounds significantly more efficiently than dry skin because water helps temporarily swell the spaces between skin cells. Within 60 seconds of cleansing, while your skin still holds some moisture, press this blend gently into your entire face, neck, and chest using flat hands and upward strokes. Then leave it completely undisturbed. No rubbing, no additional products on top. Let it work overnight. The synergy tip for this combination is perhaps the most important synergy tip of the entire video. Take a collagen peptide supplement, specifically types 1 and 3, hydrolyzed for maximum absorption, every morning with vitamin C. The topical application works on the structural site. The oral collagen peptides provide the amino acid building blocks, glycine, proline, hydroxyproline, that your fibroblasts will actually use to build new collagen once the rosehip and castor blend has activated them. These two approaches work on exactly the same biological target from 2 different directions, and the combined effect is dramatically greater than either alone. Scientific references for all of the studies I've mentioned today are listed in the description below, and I encourage you to look at them. Now, I want to take a moment before I close because I think this matters more than any oil or any protocol. So many women I've spoken with over the years have told me they stopped looking after their skin because they felt it was too late. They were told, sometimes explicitly and sometimes by the silence of a culture that simply stops paying attention, that their time had passed. I want to be very direct with you today. That is wrong. The science is unambiguous. Your skin retains the biological capacity to regenerate, to produce new collagen, to repair its own barrier well into your 70s and 80s. The only thing that was missing was the correct information. And now you have it. Looking after your skin is not vanity, it is dignity. It is the daily declaration that you are still here, still worthy, still in the conversation. Every woman who sent me a message saying she looked in the mirror and finally saw herself again, not just some aged version of someone she used to be, but herself, every one of those messages reminds me why I do this work. It is never too late. And you deserve to know that. If this video helped you today, please subscribe to this channel and hit the bell so you never miss a new video. I release new content every week specifically for women over 45 who want science-based, honest information about their health and wellness. And I want to know, which of these 5 combinations are you going to try first? Leave it in the comments below, tell me your age, and if you've already been using any of these oils, tell me what your experience has been. I read every single comment, and your story might be exactly what another woman needs to hear to take that first step. I'll see you in the next one. Take good care of yourselves.